we benefit from each other. And we all belong to, you see there in my videos I always say, we all belong to this earth. But no one belongs to this earth more than another one. Or no one belongs to this earth less than the other. But we have to realize that we all belong here, we have to coexist, and we can help each other.
Today I want us to discuss about Dr. Louis Farakhan of the Nation of Islam. He made some very, very important revelation, and I've been getting these questions a lot. Myself, I've been having doubts, but he's going to share with us some very important details on who are the true Jews. The Jews that we have today, are they the authentic, the original Jews, or what we know is not what it is? As my friend Simon calls it, deception as a form of enlightenment.
Who are the real children of Israel? Now, the first time that the name Israel is mentioned in the scripture, in the book of Genesis, Jacob is wrestling with an angel. And they wrestled through the night. When the morning came, Jacob had prevailed. So his name was changed from Jacob to Israel. Now this may be controversial to you, but the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that Jacob, his name in Arabic is Yaqub. Yaqub. When they make mockery of what God has revealed to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they say Yaqub was an evil scientist. Wrong. He was a scientist of our people. He was original man. So the question is asked when we join the nation and we have a student enrollment. We're just enrolling in the classroom of our God. He asked the question, who is the original man? When you look up the word original, it means that from which all other humans come. Who is the original man? The answer is given. The original man is the Asiatic black man, maker, owner, cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. Now, we can write volumes on those words. We don't have time to go into volumes, but we'll just touch a few of the things that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us about the original man. You notice the enemy today wants you to call yourself everything but black. And for years, we would not accept black. You could call us the N-word, just don't put black in front of it. Now we're ready to fight. So hateful have we been made of blackness that anything that tied us to black or to African Africa or to our original state, which never was a people running around in the jungles of Africa with bones in our nose swinging from trees. If we were that, and the white people who enslaved us were not our teachers, how then did we build their mansions in the South? How then did we design clothing for Massa's daughters and Massa's wife? Who taught us how to do the things that we did to make America what it is today? They were not our teachers. We had something innate that could not be destroyed by the slave master's oppression. We were born builders. We were born architects of civilization. But what are we building today? What has happened to the original man that today people look at us narrowly as though we never contributed anything to the onward march of civilization? But as a student of Elijah Muhammad, we said, no, he's a maker, owner. He's a father of civilization. But he's a God of the universe. That's a heck of a description of you. That's so far from your thinking about yourself. You say this must be a dream, that somebody's telling me that about me. See? But God says in the scripture, my ways are not yours. My thoughts are not yours. I am from above. You are from beneath. And as far as the heavens are from the earth, is as far away of my thinking are your thoughts. That has deep meaning. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that Yaqub was a scientist who saw in the genetic makeup of the black man that he could bring out of us a new people, the opposite of the original. That is not evil. That is high science. Well, why did he say we were the Asiatic black man? I thought we were Africans. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us, if you go back to the ancient maps, this whole earth was called Asia. This part that has been recently named America, Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, Costa Rica, Brazil, Venezuela, Argentina, Peru. Those are recent names. This part of our planet was called West Asia. That part of Africa was called East Asia, the jungle of East Asia, the undeveloped part. And Europe was called Eurasia. The earth was one. And we are belonging to the earth, not just America. The earth is our home. You can take your black self to China, bring your wife with you, or grow up in China as a black person. You're not going to produce a Chinese. Wherever you are on the planet, you reproduce yourself. To prove that the earth is one, die on any part of the earth and see will the earth reject your body. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. We belong to this planet, and the planet belongs to us. Yaqub saw in the original man other nations. It's there in the Bible, in the book of Genesis. From one blood came all human beings.
Yes, and nowadays the media has really made it easy to sell lies, and lies has made its way to become truth. But truth is always one. Truth is not many. So Dr. Louis Farakhan is going to share with us some important details about the Nation of Islam. What's your take on this idea of who are the Jews? According to you, Simon, who do you think are the real Jews?
Well, I honestly think there is a lot we need to find out. I personally would say we don't have the truth. There is a lot that should be uncovered, and that is exactly what we want to find out here. Because in my personal opinion is, even the people that call themselves the Jews today, we might be surprised to find that these people are not exactly the Jews as we expected. I'm not saying I know who the Jews are, but there is some truth that I feel, or I personally think, it's hidden from us. So we'll go deep into this and find out something about who these true Jews are.
Yes.
Yep.
So let's dive into the video. Let's watch it. By the end of the video, we will give you our critical analysis. Let's dive in.
Well, blood is the life fluid of some living thing. So scholars didn't just say from black people came all human beings. It said from one blood. They left it to us to figure out what blood that is genetically powerful enough to produce the entire human family. Now, those of you who are lettered, that study biology and genetics, they teach you that dark skin is dominant and light skin is recessive. I'm not dealing with race to exalt one group of people over another. I am just dealing with actual facts. How you interpret those facts will either show that you are racist or you're believing you are better than somebody else because they came from you. That's not the object of this teaching. The object of this teaching is to straighten out the planet that is confused now about the origin of man. Black, brown, red, yellow, and white. If dark skin is dominant, dominant meaning strong, light skin is recessive, meaning weak, the geneticists say you can get the recessive from the dominant, but you cannot get the dominant from the recessive. You learned that in college. I went for a few years and I learned that too. Now look, the scriptures or the geneticists say dark eyes are dominant, light eyes, blue eyes, green eyes, recessive. You can get the recessive from the dominant, but you can't take two blue-eyed persons and produce one whose pupil, whose eye is black. What does that tell you? The anthropologists agree. When they look for the origin of man, they don't go to Eurasia. When they look for the origin of man, they don't even go to China or Japan. When they look for the origin of human life on our planet, they visit that part that is called Africa. And in Africa, they found the bones of a man called Zinjanthropus. Zinj meaning black, anthropus meaning man. And his bones were the oldest at that time. I think it was about 750,000 years old, and of course he had a father. And then they went back and they dug some more, and they found bones 1.5 million, and then 2 million. And if they keep on digging, no stone shows the origin of the black man. Dig, anthropologists. You cannot find our origin. We are the origin. And our originator is God Himself. The object of Yaqub was to make a people unalike that would be attractive because of the law of unalike attract and like repel. And Yaqub would teach a new people, a new way of civilization that was in opposition to the natural order of the universe and the nature of God in his creation of life. A new people, a new race. Please hear me. This is referring to the Caucasian people, called in the Bible Adam. Adam is not the beginning of all human beings. Adam is the beginning of a specific people. Not one man, it is a race. Male and female created he them and called their name Adam, and he gave them power. And he gave them dominion. So that the Caucasian people were made to rule over the planet for 6,000 years until the coming of God. Adam, in theology, they talk about original sin. What is the original sin? And we've been on this planet for trillions of years. So what is this original sin that the church talks about? As by one man sin entered into the world, and death came by sin. All men have sinned. All men are in a state of death. Adam was born to rule. He was a god of a new world. Now look at Caucasian people. They feel within themselves they have entitlement. And they do, but for a period. White people do not like to submit to black authority. That's the problem in America, that a black man is a president, but many whites are angry as you know what, that a black man is living in the White House. So the Tea Party folk, angry, upset, we got to take our country back. Take it back from whom? We don't have it. We just have a spot in the White House, and that has made you mad as heck. And now you want to hurt all black people who see in Obama our rise. Obama has brought out the best in white people, and unfortunately, he has brought out the worst. He's a good man. But he's part of a plan that wasn't in his mind. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. I want to get to Israel. See, when Yaqub was successful in bringing out of us a totally new people or race on our planet. Now listen, to any Caucasians that are in the audience, please don't be offended, because you also need to know your origin. No, this is not hate. These schools are not going to teach that because they're rooted in white supremacy. They're not going to tell you that you came from us. You're going to have to learn that through your study or hear it from us. And when you hear it from us, you're really hearing it from God. Because we didn't know anything about this until Al-Mahdi visited North America and taught the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Once Yaqub was successful in making a new people, that new people come under the name Israel. A conqueror, one who prevails over an angel by God's permission. Yaqub, a great man, and he produced a great people. We live in the world of white people. This is not your world. You may have helped, and this is their world. That's why they get angry when you get uppity. They don't like nobody coming among us to disturb us with knowledge. Because they see all of us as their property. And even after all this time of enlightenment, you still walk around wearing the names of your former slave masters. How could you, who are the original, the maker, call yourself Mr. Wood? Why should you be named after creation when you are from the Creator? Where is the name of your father? Not Mr. Wood, not Mr. Green, not Mr. Culpepper, not Mr. Brown, not Mr. Washington, not Mr. Jackson. So in this time of enlightenment, if you're still walking around with your slave master's name, then you are not yet free enough to give back the name of your slave master and take the name of God, who is your originator. Now, if the white race is under the name Israel, where did the name Jew come from? Adam never said he was a Jew. Wow. Abraham didn't say he was a Jew. Moses didn't say he was a Jew. So the name Jew comes after Judah. Hebrew is different. The original Hebrews look just like you. The original Hebrews are black. Before the Jews rebuilt what is called Jerusalem, it was built by black people. It was called Jebus, Salem, Ariel. But the Jews rebuilt it and renamed it Jerusalem, which means founded in peace. We as Muslims respect Jerusalem as our third holiest city. Christians and Jews and Muslims honor Jerusalem. But it has been anything but something founded in peace. Maybe that's why the scripture said, and there will be a new Jerusalem. Well, I want to move quickly. You all can tie all the dots together. We don't have all that much time to do it today, but I want to say that all of us are under Israel. All of us, black people, brown people, yellow people, red people, all of us are under the rule of the Caucasian people. And all the races have been affected by their rule. I want to read something from the Bible. This is the New Living Translation. In the book of Romans, in the 2nd chapter, around the 17th verse, under the title, The Jews and the Law. You who call yourselves Jews are relying on God's law, and you boast about your special relationship with Him. You know what He wants, you know what is right, because you have been taught His law. You are convinced that you are a guide for the blind and a light for people who are lost in darkness. You think you can instruct the ignorant and teach children the ways of God, for you are certain that God's law gives you complete knowledge and truth. Well then, if you teach others, why don't you teach yourself? You tell others not to steal, but do you steal? I didn't write this. Let me go on. You say it is wrong to commit adultery, but do you commit adultery? You condemn idolatry, but do you use items stolen from pagan temples? You are so proud of knowing the law, but you dishonor God by breaking it. No wonder the scriptures say the Gentiles blaspheme the name of God because of you. The Jewish ceremony of circumcision has value only if you obey God's law. But if you don't obey God's law, you are no better off than an uncircumcised Gentile. And if the Gentiles obey God's law, won't God declare them to be his own people? In fact, uncircumcised Gentiles who keep God's law will condemn you Jews who are circumcised and possess God's law but don't obey it. For you are not a true Jew just because you were born of Jewish parents or because you have gone through the ceremony of circumcision. No, a true Jew is one whose heart is right with God. And true circumcision is not merely obeying the letter of the law. Rather, it is a change of heart produced by God's Spirit. And a person with a changed heart seeks praise from God, not from people. Let's stop a moment and take a deep breath. Look, Satan's duty is to make evil fair seeming. If you study the law of God and you find homosexuality objectionable, you're called homophobic. You can't even preach this without somebody labeling you as a hater. But that's what's written in God's law, both in the Torah, in the Injil, in the Quran. Now, we have many of our people who are gay and lesbian. We are not permitted to judge them, because the scripture says if you break one law, you've broken them all. And the greatest law that you break is to set up a rival or a partner with God. That's the great sin. That's the original sin that Adam broke in obedience to God and set up something other than God to be worshiped. Don't make any graven images, no statues, and bow down to them. But if you go to church, you'll see images, you'll see statues. Go to Rome, go to the Vatican, you'll see it. Well then, how do we reconcile? You know, and this is not my subject, but I just want to say this. None of us in this world are perfect. But the beauty of what I'm about to say today is that the true disciples of Jesus, the true ones, there's a word in Arabic that is used that it says the disciples continue to whiten or wash, and they are beaten. You know, like how you take clothes and you wash it and you beat it so that it purifies the dirt from the garment. We have lived a dirty life. Not because we are in fact dirty, but our minds have been dirtied by the deviation of a deviator. So when we become true disciples, we go through a ever purifying process.
After watching what the minister Louis Farakhan has said, Louis Farakhan may be from a different religion from what I believe in. However, these are all Abrahamic faith, as Simon is about to explain to us these faiths. Simon, do you mind giving us an insight on these faiths which are from Abraham?
The Abrahamic religions, the three of them, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity are basically just one thing. Yeah. I usually think of them as siblings.
Yes.
We came from the same parent.
Yes, yes.
And there is always the biggest pull and push, as you know, is between the three religions.
Yes.
They always want to dominate each other.
Yes.
And that's basically what siblings usually do, you know. In the house, we are usually always trying to, are we trying to get more favors from the parent? We always, as siblings, have a rivalry. There's always that sibling rivalry, and it's usually especially for the closest of the siblings, you know.
The closest you are, the more powerful the rivalry will become.
Exactly. For in my case, for example, I am a firstborn.
Yeah.
I happen to be a firstborn, and there's quite between me and my brother, who comes as second. There's some time distance. So, but between my brother coming as a second born, and then my sister, the third born, and another sister who happens to be the third born, these people are close.
Yes.
Maybe 1 year difference, or 1 year and a few months. And the case is usually when we are in the house. And like for me, who is 6 years apart from my brother,
yes,
I'm a little bit revered or respected. But as I came first, and then there was a long distance, time distance between the space between me and my brother. But for the three other kids that are close to each other, there's always a pull and push, and everyone is trying to, assert their place, their authority right there. So the closer they are, the stiffer the competition or the rivalry, you know.
Yes, yes.
And like for me, there's no one who is always trying to take my place or push me over the, So basically, that is exactly what is the situation with the three Abrahamic religions.
Yeah. Okay, let me just explain something. Now, we have the theories that explain creation. The theories of creation, we have the scientific, we have the religious, and then we have the traditional. The scientific is explaining faith, is explaining creation by the Big Bang theory. The Big Bang theory has a lot of faults. We don't want to discuss that right now. We are discussing the creation theory. The creation theory has provided evidence that we had the first being. The creation theory has provided evidence of the DNA, because the Big Bang cannot create something as complex as the DNA. It has to be some superior being. It has to be somebody who is smarter, his ways are higher than that of man. And that's why we've decided to concur, we've decided to subject our video to the creation theory and to the teachings of Louis Farakhan. Yes. I'm
also thinking,
yes,
watching this video got me thinking, what would have happened if the landmass, as we have today, the different continents,
yes,
of Africa,
Asia,
Europe, and the rest,
Australia.
What would have been the scenario with humanity had it not split into the continents we have today? Because basically, do you see that we have big differences that we are getting because I am African and I believe in something African, and then you're European and you believe in something that, had we been, you know, had we have acquired these so many differences, had we just remained one landmass and we coexisted on the same, sometimes we need to have thought that we are just basically the same person, the same thing. Beneath the sibling rivalry, there's usually true love.
Yeah.
These people, they love each other so much.
And if you want to know there's true love, try attack one of them.
Try to attack one of them.
Yeah.
Or if one goes missing, is the only time one is away from the other one, or the rest, is when they now begin to miss, you know?
You know, it reminds me of myself and my brother. We've always had this sibling rivalry thing. Sometimes it would get so intense. But one time I was very sick. Hey, he was the first one to come to the hospital.
And he's sad as you, or
Yeah.
sometimes even, you know, feeling more pain
than you yourself. So I believe that despite us having Christianity, Judaism, Islam, we share the same God. We speak of the same God, you know. However, I can't speak much on the God of Islam because the God of Christianity had Jesus Christ. Remember, the message is not about God. The message is about the origin of black people. The origin. Who are the originals?
Jews.
Who are the original Jews? Because Dr. Farakhan is giving an example with who? He's not giving an example. He's providing factual evidence with the scriptures explaining how Jacob's name, which is Yaqub in Arabic, was changed to Israel, and Jacob had 12 sons, and he's explained to us these 12 sons were black. And the media has worked so hard to make it appear like nothing else. We've known that the black person has passed through colonialism, has passed through slavery. We've always been taken as inferior. We were sold the narrative we are inferior, and we bought it. We made it our own. We made it we've sold it into our culture. Right now, you take a black child and you take a white child, and you present two dolls, one black doll and one white doll. You ask the children, which one is a nice doll? Do you know? Say I take the black child and I ask the black child, which doll is good between the black and the white? The black child will point at the white doll and say it's good. When asked, why is the black doll not good? They'll say it's not good for no reason at all. Why is the white doll good? It's good for no reason at all. But there is a reason. It's something which has been sewed into their mind. It has been manufactured from birth. Because if you take a child who's been living with their children, a black child who's never met anyone before, who is white, you present them with those two options. They'll choose one which resembles them. If a white man comes into a village, into an African village, where a child has never seen them, the children will always cry.
Yeah.
You know that? The children will always...
Scary.
It's scary.
They don't look at these, you know, like pink-looking human being as you know,
as human,
as
then
normal as a normal human being like themselves.
So if you take this doll to that, if you take these two dolls to that child who cries when he sees a white person, you will get a different answer. It tells us how the media and how power has corrupted truth, how power has changed truth. Dr. Farakhan is saying that the Bible is writing black blood. They removed the word black and they placed blood. Simon, imagine how intense this thing is. A black person accepts to be insulted with every word. One of the things that makes a black man want to shoot anyone, sorry for saying this, is calling them the N-word. They really hate the N-word. They really hate the N-word. But they would rather accept the N-word, but not being called black. It's funny though.
It's funny.
It's better you call somebody Negro, but don't call them black. Why is that? Like, there is something about black people, and as you are explaining, somehow, I don't know what's wrong with us. Is it still the sibling rivalry that we have between us? Or what is it, bro?
Come to think about it, from that analogy of a sibling,
Yes, yes.
you always notice that the younger sibling
Yes.
is the one that is trying to topple the one that is ahead of them.
Yeah.
And the kind of like the older one is always going to take a lot more, you know.
Yeah.
And it seems even in the case of the race, the white versus the black, who exactly is the perpetrator of racism? Who came up with racism? Who is the one that is agitating the most?
As you said, the younger kid is always envious. He thinks that the older one is much better and gains favor. Actually, the older one is always feeling like, oh, you are the youngest. They will even share their food with the youngest.
But the younger
will never
would not want to share. In fact, they would want to be in a position where I'm not so. Stop thinking of me as young. I can also challenge you in a battle. You know, in a fist fight. You know, they always want to express that point. I can also beat you up.
Yeah.
Think about that. The one who is agitating.
Yeah. There's a weakness that they think they have,
yeah,
and they try to cover this up.
That is exactly the point.
So, because all humans came from blackness, and we still have humans who are retaining the blackness. Those who deviated from being black are kind of envious from those who are black because they are close to the original humans.
Yes.
There is something which is special with being original, by being authentic. It's true that white people had to become white. We had to retain our blackness because of our environment, our space. They might have migrated to those other places. Their forefathers changed and became white. That's how they might have done this. Now they sold, the sad part is, why don't you just accept who you are without making someone else feel less of themselves?
But think about it like this, and then I think this is what we're basically trying to express. The black person is the elder sibling, who is not aware or is not taking serious the rivalry.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But the younger sibling has taken this to another level.
Yeah. It shouldn't reach there.
I'm toppling you over, bro. You think of me as young, but I will beat you up. And then I go out there, I go to the gym, I do everything I can, because in my mind, just like a young bull versus an older bull, the sole intention of the younger bull is to eat as much as they can, so they can take over power.
Yeah,
and that is exactly what the white man is doing, even from their fathers.
Yeah.
But sometimes the older bull is not about the wrestling and the fight. They already have whatever they needed to have, the space, the power and everything. And now, because they become oblivious of that fact, they are concentrating on everything else but fighting.
Yeah.
And then, but the younger guys are out there eating as much as they can, doing everything they can, because they are readying themselves for the battle.
Yeah.
You know, exactly, that is the scenario. But what is underlying here is we are basically siblings.
You know, there's one thing about these coming from siblings are people who come from the same parent.
Yes.
And Farakhan said, these names we have: Croatia, Maldives, Seychelles, Kenya, Japan, Brazil, Honduras, Jamaica. These are things which never used to exist. The earth was one place. Today I'm saddened with the what? You see how intense the white person has really, the white colonizer, the white imperialist has really affected Africans. He placed the border thing in African countries, but at his home, in the Schengen region, you can move freely. In America, you can move through those states freely. In Africa, you can never do such things. They placed a disease of separation in this continent and further into other continents as well. Earth was one. Earth had the name Asia. I'm surprised by what he said. Of course, we know, remember when we were doing college, René Descartes tells us that if you want the truth, remove all the apples from the basket.
Yes.
There is some of them which are rotten. Now remove all the buckets, remove all the apples, and start putting them one by one. I'm telling you, you'll touch some of these apples. They'll be having mold. Some will be having worms. Some will be having maggots. And then you'll realize you've been having a lot of rotten apples in your bucket. But if you didn't empty it, you wouldn't have known. Sometimes it's high time we challenge the ideas that we have been planted with before. These ideas might have been implemented to make us subject to other people who think of themselves as superior. It's very hard to attack an elephant as a single person. You need to attack different sides. Attack here, attack here, attack here. Now, the divide and rule is a very, very effective tool.
Yes.
Attacking a unit is very hard.
It's hard.
When you split it, it becomes pieces. It's easy to attack pieces than to attack the whole. Now, it was easier for them to attack the entire amicable land, the entire Africa. It was easy for them to attack it, being that they had divided it. We had some countries which are an exception, like Ethiopia. Ethiopia through Menelik. Menelik too defeated the Italians in the Battle of Adwa, and they did not have weapons at all. Ethiopia is a very old civilization. It's written in the Old Testament as well. Ethiopia is a very old country. This tells us that there is something about black people. We are never told about the United States of America in the Bible. We don't hear of it. But we hear of Egypt, we hear of Ethiopia. So whatever Louis Farakhan is saying holds substantial truth. It holds evidence. Right now in Ethiopia we have sites, we have places of religion, we have Christianity being practiced there as early as possible. Those people, they have their own year, they have their own calendar, different from what they have. They have not allowed the outside world to affect their affairs. They believe they are right and we are wrong. And we believe we are right and they are wrong. You get it?
Come to think about the divide and rule tactic.
Yeah.
It was so effective.
Yeah.
Some guys.
The Berlin Conference.
Some guys somewhere.
Yeah.
Sat somewhere in Berlin, the so-called the Berlin Conference,
yes,
and decided without our notice, without our consent,
yes,
and decided that they were going to this place, and they were going to to split the spoils. It's funny.
On their own.
And they used force.
Yes.
They did not come and we talk and agree on this is what we have and this is what we want. What can you guys have and provide? It was a military conquest. Wasn't it a military conquest? And forced enslavement. These guys divided us, put borders. I have always said in my previous videos that they did not do justice to Africa because they drew borders. Without our consent, and drew across communities and divided communities. Today in Africa, we have a community, one community that is living in two countries, families that have been literally divided by colonial borders, and now for you to visit your family over the other side of the border, you need a passport, you need so much formalities. And they told us about the countries and everything, and they did not take consideration of communities, They just divided communities in between. And today we have minority communities in Kenya not because they're small in their population, but because the majority of the rest of their brothers and sisters
Are in another country.
are in another country.
Damn.
You
And
see?
they require permit to see their family.
To see their families, while to traverse borders in Europe is easier than to traverse borders in Africa.
You know,
And we didn't come with the borders.
it reminds me of the place where we went, Shompole. Shompole is a very deserted place in Kenya. It borders Tanzania, a few kilometers to Tanzania. When you are in the other side, Shompole side of Tanzania, you don't see nothing. Everything is the same. You are left asking yourself, where is Tanzania? Where is Kenya? How is it different? You know?
Yes.
How is it? I understand there should be laws, there should be boundaries to prevent invasions and all that. These boundaries should not separate families. These boundaries should not interfere with trade, because trade has been affected. It's very hard for me to go and trade in Uganda and coming back here. There's this ETA thing. There's Uganda with the passport issues. It's so hard. I need to have, there's a lot of money I'm going to spend on the papers. The profit I get, I'm going to share with the government. What sort of business is that? It's so hard, you know. The Berlin Conference was very, very dangerous. When we were taught in high school the Berlin Conference, we thought it was just a simple thing. The Berlin Conference with Otto von Bismarck resulted into the death of 10 million Africans in the Congo. That is the lowest estimate. 10 million Africans died in the hands of Leopold of Belgium when he decided that Belgium, Congo Free State is going to be a Belgian colony. 10 million Africans died, bro. This person was starving them. This person was enslaving them. And before, during the Berlin Conference, the international community, which was existing then, we didn't have the UN or the League of Nations. They asked these people, you guys, what are you going to do in those people's land? Why are you organizing yourself? They said that, you know, those people, they have a lot of malaria, there's a lot of cholera, and there's a lot of diseases, tropical diseases. Now we want to go and give them some cure. These people are so evil, man. So evil. They're saying they're going to do human rights. What's human rights when 10 million people are dying? That is just one country. See how West Africa is suffering. All these comes from the black people who are suffering because of lack of knowledge. Black people, we are very special, man. We can have this discussion for the longest time possible.
I'll tell you one thing. Yeah? Today, I can tell you, as a matter of fact, Europe is in a frenzy. Because young people in Africa have realized, and we want now to break away from enslavement. Because to date, years after we were told we had our independence, these guys, or the children of those guys that came here, or the grandchildren, or even the great-grandchildren, are still enjoying the spoils of the splits. Think about it this way. Today, you would be maybe surprised to realize that a country like Israel is a huge, amongst the greatest exporters of refined diamond. But you don't have diamond in your country. The diamond is coming from the Congo.
From the Congo, yes.
And they make the Congo itself, with everything that is happening in Congo, and you know that Congo is very unstable.
Very, very
but
unstable.
It's a very, very rich country resource-wise.
Yes.
But they cannot even count the diamond and every mineral that is in that country to their GDP. But someone else in a different place across the seas is enjoying all that at the expense of.
Insane.
I personally would always say that we benefit from each other. And we all belong to, you see there in my videos I always say, we all belong to this earth. But no one belongs to this earth more than another one. Or no one belongs to this earth less than the other. But we have to realize that we all belong here, we have to coexist, and we can help each other. Africa and the young people of Africa have realized the truth. And literally, Europe is in a frenzy. I'm telling you the truth. Huh? And I'm going to release a video on my channel that I did recently about what's happening with white people propagating that, you know, there's going to be war in Africa. They're calling it World War III. World War III Africa. Africa going to fight against, I don't know, Europe or against our own selves. But because they're just running into a frenzy, because we're not in war with anyone, but we have to realize the truth. You said 10 million people from the Congo
were killed.
Killed
by Leopold.
And who is talking about that?
It's never. People in Europe, they celebrate him.
They don't talk. Nobody is willing to write or say anything about the 10 million people of Congo that died as a result of the Belgian invasion of that country.
You know, I was thinking, what if it was Hitler who killed so many of Africans and not the Jews?
They would not be talking about it. Trust me, they would not, because in every country today in Europe, you know, there is laws that you have to recognize about the Holocaust. They always tell you about it, to remember about it and everything. But Africans suffered a few years than those people were killed. But nobody's talking about it, like nothing happened. They should also be the African.
By no means are we saying that Hitler did the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
By no means. We are just trying to say justice should cut across.
That should cut across, exactly.
Everyone, every race, all humanity.
So let's talk about the genocide of Africa by the Europeans.
By the Europeans.
And let's not try to underestimate and feel like, you know, we came here to make you... this is the point I was bringing to before we just close. This is going to be my final take. Because we can benefit from each other. If Europe brought whatever kind of civilization, it's fine. Come to me as a brother. Because we were talking about we're all just siblings, and we're just having a sibling rivalry, but we all belong. All these religions belong to just one pattern, and all these races, the thing we have come to know as races,
they root from one person.
All right.
One person. Yes.
Come to me as a brother from my own mother, from my own dad, and tell me, bro, this is what I have, and this is what you have. Let's share. Give me this, I give you this. Isn't that a diplomatic way?
It is.
Yeah. So I think that is what we need to do.
Yeah.
That is what that Berlin conference should have done.
Yes.
We can talk.
Yes.
We can be diplomatic.
Yes.
And we can share what we have. You can give me what you have, and I can give you what I have, for as long as it is to the benefit of both of us. But this divide and rule tactic that I always think has fueled the wheels of capitalism, you know,
which is another different topic
that we need to talk about, not in this video.
Yes.
is somehow dangerous.
Yeah.
And that is why the West is always going to try and silence any black or any African leader that's going to try and talk about bringing Africa together, because that capitalism whereby we have to divide and rule and so we can extract and show superiority is attacked. And Africa is rising to this realization and to fight against it. Yes, that is my take on this.
Wow, that's a powerful take. And so guys, my take is always one. Let's appreciate who we are. We are Africans, and we should be proud of being Africans. There's nobody who will be proud of us. We have to be proud of ourselves. It sounds simple, but it's very effective. Travel outside Africa as a black person. You'll know I'm saying the truth. Appreciate yourself more. Don't wait for someone to appreciate you. Let those who appreciate you just appreciate you, but don't base your whole existence on someone else's approval. Now, we are grateful, and this is Simon. Simon has a channel, AfriSite channel, where he discusses matters of Africa. more like this, more or like, more, how do we call it?
More or less the same as...
More or less the same of what I do here.
Yes.
I discuss matters of Africa, and I believe we need many voices to speak for the Africans in the right way and in the right context.
Yeah.
So Simon, thank you for accepting being featured in my channel.
Thank you for having me as well.
Yes.
Until next time.
Until next time, see you in the next one. Subscribe to the channel, give it a super thanks, join my channel pages, become a Patreon. Yeah, there's so much. Become African.
As well.
As well.
Peace.
Peace, peace.